Good Mood Foods. Nutrition is a vitally important factor in feeling good, and some would say this is the most important factor. What we eat and drink, what we ingest and digest affects our whole body and mind, and I totally believe they go hand in hand, as I've mentioned many times before. Big believer in the body-mind connection, and when we feel good in our body, we feel good in our mind, and vice versa. Now, talking about digestion alone, I recall hearing many years ago how heavy meals, such as red meat, for example, can take your body a lot of energy to digest, how you can feel very tired after a heavy meal, not sleep very well, and even wake up feeling tired, while other lighter foods are easier to digest and increase your energy, which makes very good sense. Now, I've titled this audio Good Mood Foods, and I'm going to focus on foods that positively affect our brain, also known as brain food, and they're usually the same. So if you were to research lists on good mood foods and also brain foods, the similar foods will be in these lists. And also these foods are generally good for general health and good for your heart as well. So I'll just list a few, and the ones that I love, generally speaking, I love all healthy food, and I always have. So I'm going to suggest that if you don't like any of the foods that I'm going to suggest, that you certainly try them, just as we did when we taught our children to eat, and the advice from the experts is always to keep trying, and you can actually develop a taste for something that you possibly didn't like before. Now, we'll start with good fats, and I'll name a few, and these are the best foods to start eating to increase your mood, balance your mood, and all the lovely benefits of having a sharper mind. And this is all part of the whole Feel Good Now philosophy, and eating good food is a very quick way to change your mood and feel good. So I'll list some. Avocado, I love them. Blueberries, broccoli, olive oil and coconut oil, eggs, if you eat eggs, seeds, all types of seeds, there's many, green leafy vegetables, like spinach, oily fish, if you eat fish. Some people don't eat fish, but that amazing ingredient DHA, which is for Optimum brain health, that's in oily fish. Turmeric's very good for brain. Nuts, most nuts, I believe walnuts the best, and also dark chocolate. There's some good news if you like chocolate, and I certainly do, and I love dark chocolate. And for a drink, green tea. Now, this is just a few examples, and when I was studying this topic many years ago and originally wrote Feel Good Now, I started eating a lot of those things that I wasn't, and I started drinking green tea, and I sincerely love them all. And I believe, as you know, that you can totally brainwash yourself for anything. And I also went off meat when I was changing my diet to have a balanced mood, and I believe that that's why, because it wasn't good for me. And I'm not suggesting that you do that. That's just the choice that I made. That's totally up to you. But I do recommend that you do a little bit of research on this topic and find out the best foods for optimum health, and incorporate some new ones into your diet. As you know, my programs are always concise, and I just summarise the best suggestions for the optimum nutritional choices, and then it's up to you to make those choices. Now, I'll just briefly explain eating a low GI diet and the benefits of this sort of nutritional choice. So if you're not sure what GI means, again, a very brief lesson on this. Now, GI stands for glycemic index, and this measures how much a particular carbohydrate-based food increases the blood glucose levels. So, or how quickly any carbohydrate is turned into sugar. So foods with a low GI are more slowly digested, so they don't cause those large spikes in blood sugar levels, which is what we're getting away from. So I won't get into a big lesson on it, but simply explained, the body breaks down or converts most carbohydrates into the sugar glucose. So glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream and by the help of the hormone called insulin, and it travels into the cells of the body where it can be used for energy. So simply put, we want to aim for eating low GI foods, and these are some of the benefits. It includes reducing your blood sugar levels, as discussed, aiding weight loss or releasing fat, as I say. So if you have any excess fat, eating low GI foods will quickly help with this, and it also lowers your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and many other health ailments. So some examples are green vegetables, again, most fruits, beans, chickpeas, lentils, oats are also a good example. So again, I'd just advise to do some basic research on the best foods to suit your tastes and discover some new ones. As mentioned, I went off meat a few years ago. I simply do not like the texture or the smell, but I'm sure there are some lean meats included in low GI foods. Now, I said that when I decide to do something and make some changes, and then I tell myself that I'm going to do that, and this is the mind power part, I get directed into ways that I can do this. So that's simply what happened for me. I believe people ask me all the time, how do you not eat meat? And it's definitely not a challenge, and it's not even any sort of discipline, because I simply don't want to eat it. So it's just like quitting any bad habit. When you're over it and you don't want it anymore, I simply don't even feel like eating it. I don't like the smell of it. So I've always loved vegetables. I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, a lot of raw or slightly cooked, because I really like a crunchy texture. Also depends on what sort of texture you like for your diet, but I've always loved veggies, even as a child, and always loved salad. And I get protein from other sources, so if you are interested in going off meat or limiting your meat intake, many sources of protein, and simply said again, you can definitely get as much protein from your diet without eating meat. So some of the things that I have that are high protein sources are beans. I have a lot of those chickpea based meals. Spinach I love. Quinoa, and I spelt quinoa but pronounced quinoa. I love that. Oats again, nuts, seeds. I snack on these things all during the day as well. I snack a lot as well as eating 3 meals. So a lot of high protein vegetables I have as well. Things like spinach, broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, all veggies. Most of these are good with protein, also brain food, and also low GI. So this is a snapshot of a healthy diet, and also to make you feel good and have high energy. And I'm always talking about high energy and how great you feel when you're eating high energy foods. And I remember hearing a few years ago as well, and it was very interesting how you can actually measure the electricity, like the voltage in food, and the apples have the highest energy, and that if you eat an apple, it gives you energy. I often eat apples, and there's other high energy foods like sprouts. I remember having an alfalfa sprout stage when I heard that it was really good for you. I need to get back onto them because I absolutely love them. I have a lot of wraps, so I have lots of veggies and salads in wraps, and alfalfa bulks it up, and they're delicious and really good for you. Beans and oranges, they're all like high energy foods. Again, would be on the low GI and the brain food list as well. Now, the final thing I'll touch on is the absolute amazing benefit of limiting sugar. So this, I've been talking about what to have, and I haven't really said much about what not to have, because I'm sure we're aware of foods to limit or not eat much of, like obviously fatty foods. Good fats are good, but trans fats are bad, and so on. But I will talk about the amazing benefits of limiting sugar, ideally no added sugar. So if you really have a lot of sugar and you can't just imagine eliminating it altogether, possibly wean yourself off it. And I've said to people in coaching that when I went off sugar and I wasn't ready to totally have no sugar in my cup of tea, I slowly weaned it down from 1 teaspoon to half, and then I was like dipping the spoon into the sugar, and like there'll be like a few grains. And one of my funny friends said once, how many grains are you having this week? So and then it got down to no sugar, and now I never add sugar in drinks, and I do not like the taste of sugar in drinks. Having said that, I do drink some drinks with sugar, but not very often. But on a daily basis, I all day never would add sugar to anything. I don't have sugar in the house, like how you buy sugar in the packet. I don't have that. So you limit sugar wherever you can, ideally no sugar. And when I stopped doing that, it was to balance my mood when I started to study this, to do this program. And it was the quickest and best way, diet in general. And I'll talk about all the other things that we do to feel good, like meditating and relaxing and all those lovely things. And meditation's way up there, like number one. Diet is equally as important because it will change your state. You have more energy when you eat all these lovely foods. So if you generally like to explain the sugar highs and lows, if you eat a lot of sugar, it lifts your mood, and then it's followed by a subsequent crash, the sugar highs and lows, they call them, and it can certainly accentuate any mood disorder or mood imbalance. So if you have a mood disorder or mood imbalance, or generally don't feel very well, or you're overweight and need to lose weight, stop eating sugar, and you'll be amazed at the instant change in your improvement in your mood, and you'll feel lighter, and you'll definitely lose weight, and so you'll feel better about yourself. So it's a no-brainer. So no sugar, you don't get the highs and lows, and it balances your mood and totally reduces anxiety. Good reasons. Oh, and losing fat around your abdomen, which is where most people store extra fat and want to release it. So that's a big wrap up on no sugar, and there's so much more information on it, but I'm being concise as always. If you want some more coaching or you need more detail, please contact me and ask me. Sometimes in coaching, when I explain about how the carbohydrates break down and convert to sugar, like pasta, for example, totally turns into sugar, some people aren't even aware of that. So if you're not aware of the basic how your body breaks down certain foods, and you'd like a little coaching session, or we can actually look at what you're eating. And it happens many times in coaching where people say, I don't know why I'm not losing weight, or I don't know why I'm gaining weight, and they tell me what they're eating, and they're eating things that are full of sugar, and they're not even realizing that they're sugar laden because of all the miscommunication and in advertising and so on, where they're saying this hasn't got fat in it, but it's got sugar, and vice versa. So I can help with that because I've looked into it, and I eat a lot of raw foods, and the experts will always say try and have at least half your plate of raw foods, and when it's raw, you know where it's coming from, as opposed to anything that's out of a packet. Now, that's a very, very general explanation with only a few written hand notes. But I do like to focus on good mood foods when I'm coaching, and the amazing benefits that they have. And generally, these foods contain an amino acid called tryptophan, which releases serotonin, which is the happy hormone. So I'll just finish with some more good mood foods. If you'd like to write a little list down for when you go shopping today and buy these foods. Good mood foods, some more. Bananas. I've already said nuts. I'm going to say nuts again because I love, and I say to people to eat nuts, and not lots of nuts, but, pick at nuts during the day if you're quitting a bad habit like smoking. Anything that's like soy, sesame seeds. I love oats, and I like a big bowl of oats in the morning. Really filling. I have oats with fruit, and I usually eat fruit first, and that's another little tip, to always eat fruit on an empty stomach for better digestion. I used to have that first, then the oats, very filling, but lots of low GI foods are also good mood foods, and things like I've already mentioned, like lentils and spinach. And water, I'll finish with water, lots and lots of water. Experts' opinions vary on how much water, but they all agree that most people don't drink enough. Water is amazing for concentration, and it's also good for mind power in general, like brain power. And I like to talk a lot about brainwashing yourself. I've just mentioned it today in this lesson, that you can certainly eliminate certain foods or drinks and adopt new ones or replace them with new ones with mind power techniques. If you want some help, please ask me with that as well. I've done it myself. It's like how you can change your mind about anything. Well, drinking a lot of water will help with this change as well, because it's so good for your mind power. So you can substitute sugar, like I said, and other unhealthy foods for new healthy foods. But many benefits of drinking water, and how it's good for your brain, and it's good for your skin, and it's good for your body, and it flushes out toxins, and I could go on and on and on, but I'll finish there. Drink lots of water, eat all these lovely high energy live foods that are low GI and also good for your brain and also good for your heart, and you'll also drop fat or release fat, or whatever word you want to use for not having fat around your abdomen. It's good for all these benefits and more. So please adopt the new Good Mood Foods habits, and let me know how you go. I really look forward to your feedback, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson. Good Mood Foods.